Okay. One of the things that has caused design to evolve differently at Stanford, in my opinion, is that for 25 to 30 years we've been doing research about design. And our guiding question is, what do designers do when they do design? And can we help them? One of the reasons we do research is because this institution is 97% research. So you can't go to a party, or you can't go to the Oasis, and you can't go to the football game without people talking about their research. So the design guys finally had to start, oh, I guess we have to do research too. And so we have. And at this point in time, most of our curriculum activities are firmly based on research findings. Published books. Oh, books. I mentioned books. Books. More books. Book number 3. Book number 4, coming. I'd like to promise one of these volumes to each teacher team. After this talk, please connect with me, and I'd like to share the volume. It's just a sampler. It's kind of advances in design research, and in particular, we work closely with the Hofstra as a student on them. And here we go. I was recently introduced to this figure as an alternative to the ideal circle. You can guess that it comes out of something you up. You can see that it's a complete circle again. Richly visualized with the things that happen along the way from you have an idea and it ends up in production. And it would lead you to think it's all very well working. And it is. It's not exactly how breakthrough is. So our community is particularly committed to how you get breakthrough innovation. For those guys who are a little more comfortable with English language words, I'll give you another 15 seconds to look at that. Kind of in the middle, you see this phrase, road map workshop. And you remember on the opening session, I put up a slide, promised to do the road map, and then I put up a blank slide. That's how far apart we are. The center of this model is the roadmap exists, and the center of the local strategy is the roadmap doesn't exist. We find our way. So you heard the guiding questions, what are designers really doing? And now the working hypothesis is, the shortest path to better products and services is better design. That's your goal. So we're trying to create a better design. And these words at the bottom are to say that the loft, much of this space, is function like a flight simulator. So you learn how to fly, you learn the limits of your team, you learn your personal limits, you learn the limits of technology and available knowledge generally, and you're free to crash. And you actually get extra points for a good crash. Some people call that a failure. I like to call it a crash. We learn from that. And our favorite way of learning is to video record a design team at work. some real live session, not made up. We typically record 4 channels of video, simply 1 per person on the team, 4 channels of audio, and we then can examine that data frame by frame, second by second. And we've done that, and I share some of the things we've done. Actually, this name John Tong is the man who is going to give the lecture at 3 p.m. today on user interaction design and testing. So he's the first guy to do a PhD in mechanical engineering about design. And he's still in the field and done very well using these methods. His big finding, the piece of it that I focus on, is this lower right corner, in which he identifies that 46% of the interaction amongst team members was mediated through gesture. So it isn't just our guys from Rome who gesture when they talk. It's everybody in all cultures who use gesture as the information channel to go in and out of conversation, to emphasize the emphasis. And that was the first time anybody in human-machine interaction became sensitized to the importance of gesture. So in the theme of today, teams and teamology, how do you manage teams, I'd like to alert you that how people gesture really matters. They may be gesturing shapes and places, movements, essentially an engineering simulation, a design simulation, or they may be gesturing in a way that says, I don't think so. Next big finding. Vinod Bhaia, one of the coaches in the ME310 community this year, he was using an information theoretic point of view to try to understand how designers use information. And his research scenario was to challenge the designers, actually working solo in this case, to redesign a lunar vehicle suspension system to be based on friction rather than hydraulics. So you probably all know that your car's got shock absorbers in it. And they're all hydraulic. Well, how would you make a friction-based hydraulic function? Well, the big finding was, no matter whether the designers were collecting information from documentation, creating information by designing, sketching, modeling, or storing what they had come up with, create a new document, they spent modally 7 seconds. That's how fast designers are. They think through something and they move on average, well, on modal, so you can tell that's asymmetric. 7 seconds. 3 sigma would be 20 seconds. Therefore, when you're working with your team and they're not paying attention to you, you know why. Because they're only going to pay attention for about 7 seconds. And then he's going to move on. He's thinking about dinner lunch. He's thinking about the horse race. Anyway, we move very quickly in our minds. And you should take that as a good thing. And you should take it as a lesson to be aware of how you yourself and the people around you multiplex, not multiplex, big difference. Okay, 7 seconds. Actually, you can test this at any time by watching television or a movie, because they have a 7-second rule too. And that 7-second rule is you better change what's on the screen or you lose your audience. They've known it for decades. I'll give you one more example of the 7 seconds. Two more. One is really fast. That's short-term memory. So if you study human memory phenomena, short-term memory is about 7 seconds. That's how long I have before you forget what I said. One I really like, and it's part of our ongoing research now, is when we do functional magnetic resonant imaging of your brain while doing design. We are only able to keep the lens open for 7 seconds. If our intention is to localize what part of your brain you're using at any given moment in relationship to the task we give you, often it's a creativity task, that's how long we have to localize. And after that, the activity spreads all over the brain, and we can't get a nice picture. It's not just something going wrong, and it's that you're actually using your whole brain. So when you have a thought, when you have one of these information fragments, it may go off in one part of your head, and then it flows out to other parts of your brain. This is a big deal. How do we use it on everyday technology? Well, understand that we do that, and people around us do that. Next finding. Nadia, are you in the room? I walked through it. He's one of our senior researchers. And he was also looking for information, looking at things from an information theoretic point of view. But he was actually trying to test a hypothesis about the role of questions in design activity. So we, for a very long time, have a belief, no evidence, a belief that design is about the questions you ask, not the decisions you make. Most of our research community thinks it's all about the decisions. So Adi's looking for questions in the document that you will write in December, March, and June. And he uses some fancy software to go through that document, but he couldn't find a question. It's too subtle a phenomenon for that software. But he could find noun phrases. A noun phrase is the screen width, the screen height, the line color, the font shape. Just any noun modifier. And what he's plotted here is the number of unique phrases in the document. If you only use it once, that counts. If you use it 100 times, it counts once. And what I want you to see is that in December, there's quite a range from 300 to 800 unique phrases in a document. That's quite a big difference. And over time, the guys who were in the low part, the blue line, they didn't add very many noun phrases. And they produced what we call thank you outcomes. You work hard, that's nice, thank you. Some other groups, the red line, they doubled or tripled the number of noun phrases they put in their document, and they produced the wow outcome. So how can you use that in your teamwork? Well, one way is to do a good deal of questioning and a good deal of random thinking, you know, the crazy ideas, the storming notion, and it'll help you produce well. Another way to put it is, if you're going to create something new, you need to have new language. Make it up. The English language teacher will probably take points off of your book. The design instructor will put points on your book. You decide who to turn your report in. A couple years later, Oscar Innes nailed the question thing. He used that video interaction analysis method. He examined the data frame by frame. And he did a very detailed integration of the use of language, the phenomenon of gesture, in a carefully controlled experiment. So there was not as much random stuff going on as happens in the law. And here's what he gets. The teams on the right are asking 40 to 45 questions per hour. Nearly a question per minute. Teams at the lower left are asking half that many questions. So the range from thank you outcomes, lower left, wow outcomes, upper right, factor of truth. That's not all that big a difference. That's something any of us could learn to do. Ask more questions. Kind of programmer said, how many questions do I have? Yesterday you did some storming and you were asked to produce 50 ideas. Now the challenge is produce 50 questions. Big effect. I know you're all asking what kind of question. Two particular kinds of questions. This is even worth getting on this stage. Divergent questions. How many ways can it? How many ways could it? And convergent questions. Convergent. Given what we know, what's the best way? Given what we know, what should we build? Given what we know, what's the next question? A little example of that. Take a deep breath. I could say anything. Take 7 seconds. I can produce anything. That's how fast we are, guys. We're that fast too. Every time you inhale, in preparation for saying something in your team meetings, virtually anything is done. You could switch into Southern Slovenian speak. Anything. That's how fast it is. 7 seconds to inhale, 7 seconds to exhale. This is fundamental human physiology. You take in energy, use it. A little clarification. On the upper left, you see that, well, during that divergent phase, you actually do convergent too. But you're dominant of divergent, that's the point. And on the convergent side of this diagram, well, you're also still asking what if. So it's because you can ask them so fast in your own mind. By the time you see behavior in a group, you may have gone through quite a few cycles of divergence, convergence, within a larger team cycle of divergence and convergence. And this is really important stuff. And I'm pretty happy that it substantiates and validates a lot of the dogma in the design field. You have to have a lot of ideas, ask a lot of questions. Sure, why? Well, because it's really fundamental. Okay, so let's look at a recent example from Mark Sharp. First, I'd like to give you a little background on who is Mark Sharp. Well, he's a gentleman, might be in the building, who joined my research group at age 62. So all you guys with little gray hair still have a shot. And he came to us from 25 years in business. Starts with an MBA. Spent 20 of those years for Procter & Gamble. Rises to Senior Vice President for Global Innovation and Marketing. job in Silicon Valley with Intuit, one of the leading software companies. So he's been in domestic products and software. He's been around, and he's totally frustrated with the fact that nobody out there understands innovation. They just talk about it. He's here doing functional magnetic resonant imaging studies to figure out what people really do and how can we help them. And here's a study he did. Working with students in every camp 2 years ago, he gives a, what we call a, what's the word? It's a psychological instrument for determining human preferences on what they do next. So, permanent brain dominance index, and can't even transfer. Those are the two of the four he used that were most powerful predictors of who in the class would really rather decide first, and who in the class would really like to say, not yet, what else could we do? And he put 6 of these people on a team. Now, we in design education would never do that. You take one of the most important variables of human behavior and you're homogenizing it. It was a great experiment. Here's what the experiment puts the team at a table in the observatory, video running. He gives the machine a paper with information on it. And with this information, if everyone has the information, and they don't, each one has different information on that shoe. And they've been asked to decide which shoe goes to orange or goes to orange. In a pre-study, if you have all the information in front of you, there's a 95% chance of choosing that nature, the one that's in orange. Not because draw your attention. So he knows what the decision should be. And now he puts the teams together. These teams are sharing green facts and blue questions. These are the divergers. They have 20 minutes. You're seeing a second per minute. That's the pattern for the divergers. Now let's look at the convergers. I encourage you to just let it run and feel what's happening. Don't get too analytic about it. Just feel the pattern of behavior. Let's look at them in parallel. They really were different ones. The divergers start much sooner. The convergers wait almost a third of the time, quarter of the time. Divergers consume almost all available information. Divergers much less. I get it wrong. Divergers consume most, convergers far less. And the convergers quit early. They converged, and they have a distinct preference for the facts over the questions. So interesting. Mark has to do another experiment. 3 bottles. If you have all the available information, 95% chance you pick B. But in any case, let's watch the behavior again. Now, blue C is knowledge held by everybody on that sheet of paper. And the orange diamonds are held uniquely. Only one person in the team has that information. Now the converse. Shared one piece of common information, made the worst choice available, spent the next 10 minutes explaining why it was okay anyway. Punch them in parallel. Patterns were repeated across additional experiments. You've all been in meetings that have these two characteristics. Really big effect. Now, little shift away from team dynamics in terms of the people involved. How about team dynamics in terms of how they're doing their job? In this case, where they're doing it, what's available to them. In this case, the research is done with HPI concepts, and their challenge comes from the business software world. They want to do business process modeling. That's what our friends at SAP sell to the company. Software to run the business. We have to have a model of the business. How are we going to do it? These guys have an experiment to go into a medical clinic and redesign a clinical process. They hired Mr. Gunnett. It cost $5,000 a day. They planned on a week to do scenario-based planning. Process design. They start day one with Marcus at posted pad, interviewing the group and writing down keywords. And at midday, the researchers break the end and they put a bunch of plastic pieces on the table, and they guide the entire clinical team to start making a model on the table, tangible model. So you could write on these plastic pieces to represent what they are. They happen to have some of the same meaning to the computer guys. Everybody's working together, whereas the traditional method is interviewing. One programmer interviews one person at a time, or interview groups. And the model's getting really big, much bigger than anybody imagined. Covers the room pretty much. Day one is done. The software guy has to take pictures of that. Stays up all night building the software equivalent to tangible model. Day two is working through the computer model to make sure it matches what was on the table. They all agree in time. And they're done in half the time. So it's a big savings in time, money, and accuracy. Much more accurate. And that's why these guys are doing research on this subject, because getting a good model of process, a business process, is hard to do. It's very expensive when you get it wrong. Go to another example. Okay, this is going to be a little bit harder to communicate. But I want you to know that I think it's one of the biggest breakthroughs we've come up with in these 25, going to 30 years of research. We now have a specific visual language for describing teamwork. Before that, we had video and audio and words and things that were produced, but we never had a language.
Then they could do something like layers, but well, anytime you're young with pieces, that's rough. Yeah. So like, you know, you have to eliminate people. No, it's just Lego to make it work.
Do you have something like a desk? Because it's so cool.
We're trying like a lab kit. So you can manipulate it.
Yeah, a lab, what did you say? A lab kit?
Yeah. So.
And it could be a lab kit.
You have your personal.
And those symbols on the right are what neurons came up with. A little closer look. You don't try to pick it up, but if any of you want to carry this research forward, we'd love to see that, including we'd love to see how the language works across languages, across cultures. What you might take time to read is the blue. He has been inspired by improvisational theater. And those are rules of conduct in improvisational theater, which, curiously, are part of our D dogma. How to behave with each other while doing team-based design. You've all heard the yes and line, right? And here it is. Repeat. One in the middle. Make your partners look good. Versus make yourself look good. Interesting. Second from the bottom, it's saying let your thinking flow versus scripting, versus having a checklist, versus trying to do what the professor told you to do. Just let it happen. Okay. Another example, which goes with our experience design methodology. I can see what's wrong. Slide back. Change. Let me switch. We don't get to see that. Sorry. What we're going to see here is, so the big question is, does any of this stuff actually matter to the bottom line of the problem? So let's take it. Chris Hahn is currently, well, he's a hybrid guy. He came from decision theory side of engineering, and he matched that up with design theory and did this research. And he is currently the head of the app house, SAP app house without some guys I think are there. All right, what did he do? He asked the question, how does the user experience influence car sales? Reading on the script. Okay, that's like the big disconnect. Company thinks it's really great, customer thinks otherwise. The big steal here is car sales in California is a deal between two liars. You guys probably don't think you're liars, right? Well, this data shows you do know. You know that the salesperson's a liar, right? That's their reputation. They're famous for it. Now, these are decision theory guys, and that's math. So they're going to build a model of how the activities of that dealership add up to sales. Every one of these boxes and ovals has a probability density function attached to it. Everything is computable. There's nothing in the model of the business for the user experience. Enter our research. He says those things are going to matter. Let me draw your attention to customer experience on the phone. Upper left, two ovals. It turns out that something like 95% of all car sales actually begin with a phone call. And what you may or may not know, that in the US, all of those phone calls are recorded. They're recorded because management wants to know if the salespeople are doing the right thing. And it's a great data set. So Chris had access to all the phone calls. And now we want to find out how is the phone call experience influencing the probability of a sale. And these are the big results. Vertical, the percent of time that the salesperson expresses negative feelings. And the biggest word of all to kind of remember is contempt. Because we do that to each other in teams. When we say, yeah, I don't think so. No. There's a bunch of ways that we communicate. We're really not interested in your idea. And that can happen on the phone too. And on the x-axis, so the percentage of time the salesperson represents himself as actually engaged with that customer. Then what happens? Is it a data point? Lots of negative. Green dots are the sales. Big improvement in the probability of the sale if a salesperson can just be a little bit friendly. Positive. You don't have to be friend in that friendship sense. Be positive. So why do we have yes and? It's the same thing again. I'm listening to you, and behind here. And what if we change your shirt to striped blue? Stuff like that. Now, how did that turn into money? We now have a probability model. If the salesperson is good 60% of the time, little notation on the right, this dealership will sell about $210,000 to $220,000 worth of cars per month. If they bump the good feeling stuff, they move upscale, they make more money. If they go the other direction, by the same percentage difference, they lose big time. That's where most dealerships operate. That's what works. So this research has a very convincingly demonstrated financial reward for a good experience. It's different from the kind of study you might hear about, is iPhone better than X phone, G phone, whatever. That too can be studied, but here we've got a direct sales situation. Is it convert or not? Two examples left to go. So, Philip is one of our relatively recent graduates. He's currently in the office of the Chief Technical Officer at SAP, and he's leading their App House movement. And that's an activity where SAP, which you may or may not know, is the largest company in Germany by market capitalization. I only learned that a few days ago. Big. And they're vigorously applying design thinking strategy, engineering design thinking. So they're spinning out startups they own, and they call them App House. App as in your mobile app. House as in H-A-U-S, German version of house. And those startup teams get 90 days to go from concept to delivery of a new mobile app that interfaces with SAP. Philip has long been concerned with the role of censorship in teamwork. And this is his model of how it works. Now, over on the left is plan. And then you see a censor diamond. And that's where somebody, maybe inside the team, maybe external to the team, says no. The team wants to build a prototype, they want to test an idea. And somebody says, that'll never work. It's a waste of time. So that's where the censor is. The big deal in his model is you have to execute, you have to do something. You have to build those prototypes. So that's our dogma. Here's a model that says where to fit in business. If you don't do your prototype and test it, you don't come up with insight, the synthesis phase. So the gray box is where you get insights, where you get the chance for breakthroughs. If you never get to the gray zone because you've got a sensor at work all the time, you're just not going to get very far. And then there's somebody on the right who can approve because they've got evidence. In a lot of business situations and decision-making situations, the go, no-go is just based on how somebody feels about it, no evidence in hand. But if you did the prototype, you've got testing, you've got results, you're much more likely to get approval. Insights, approve, don't censor, and he's trying to stress, and it was the core of his thesis, a model that makes sense to business versus to design. We don't diagram our work that way. Business needs that diagram. Now, I remember my emphasis on the word content. So Multi-Jung has used the video interaction analysis system to look at engineering design teams, frame by frame, and to use an activity categorization or coding scheme that's the precursor for the visual language I showed you. Multi-Jung was focused on the emotions being displayed, whereas the visual language is on the actions being taken. Now, example. I'll let you read. Let me just stress, Jonathan Gottman has been working on this for a long time. He's a social psychologist doing marriage counseling. May I use you as a subject? He said no. I need a marriage appointment for a moment. If we were to be married, what's the probability that we're married in 6 months? He could predict with 95% confidence, yes, no, after looking at the video that's coming up.
You can look at the drawings. I have most of them in there.
Right.
Now, there's just like two drawings that we're missing.
Well,
we can say, well, what do we need about that? And how can we like get that part? What made these design decisions and ask about everyone about each part? And that would be really positive and very, very constructive and useful, positive way of ending this sort of negative spiraling out of control scenario.
He's radiating a lot of contemptuous messages. He has her completely blocked. This is about as bad as it can get. That's an engineering team conversation in ME210 10 years ago. That's real stuff. I can't give you the video because I can only use it live because there are real people there. I want you to know that she is a successful professor at the University of California, San Diego, and he is a successful aerospace engineer in the Valley.
those from all those presentations. Turn here, I try to finish 3, multi-dollar contracts.
Okay, fine.
So that's what I go, so you get all upset and I say, well, you know what? I've got X amount to do in this amount of time.
First, an apology to all the guys in the room. Both video clips, you're the bad hands. It's 50-50. This is a marriage counseling data set. In the U.S., divorce is somewhere around 60%. It's real stuff, guys. Divorce in teams happens constantly, not quite as dramatically, not quite as vaguely. So what if you look at engineering teams in every 310 2 years ago and tried to predict the performance of the team? You look at 5 minutes of video and then a pre-test, you predict the performance in a laboratory exercise a few hours later. A field study, you look at 15 minutes of design team activity. Like any 15 minutes you guys were involved in working with each other. And you try to predict performance at 3 and 6 months later. Get any results? The single asterisk is 95% confident prediction of performance, rank order over 15 teams. The double asterisk is 99% confidence that you can predict the performance of those teams. That's huge. Social science, you're lucky to get 91. 99 is like, that's physics, guys. Something really extraordinary happened here. And that is that he gave the team itself a chance to view their own video. And he gave them a little widget, and as they're watching the video, they dial in how they feel. Not so good, good, really bad. He only counts negative and positive, not how much. Predicting their own feelings versus a researcher trying to read their feelings, essentially reporting their feelings. That's how we got the double asterisk. This is something anybody can do anywhere. You record yourself doing something. You give yourself this little instrument, and so you get a software. And you have a pretty good predictor of how your team's going to do if you don't do anything about it. But now for all the teaching staff in the room, including all the designers in the room, we can use that to get better outcomes. We don't have to let divorce happen. We can make it work better. And that's where the whole body of research has gone. We now have data, tools, information, models. We can make life better. Yeah, so as the interaction is taking place, we're adding up the number of positive expressions. Upper left, we get a wow. If the trend is negative, and then there's more negative, and it can be positive and negative mixed together, but if its trend's negative, we're going to lose. And there's wonderful vague phrase. Remember the invented language thing? Well, hedonic balance is invented for us, but it comes straight out of neuropsychology. And this is now the new equation for team performance. For the last 25 years, it was I equals MC to the X, minus communicated some exponential performance level. And now we know that we were saying mind, that meant like information content, engineering, theory, design. And now we know that the emotions, independent of any content, are just as important. And this is kind of a hard message to the engineering community. the science community, or the business community. The arts community is probably fine. 3, 2, 1, go, go! That's it. Questions now? Questions now? And I'm reminded to make an